Of the things we love most, we often think about things we grew to love in our formative years. This is often true for music, vacation destinations, loves, and motorcycles. At least this is true for me. Of the nearly 900 different motorcycles I've put between my legs during my riding career, it's Yamaha's splendiferous RZ500 that shines brightest in my heart. In 1984, the RZ500cc two-stroke V4 mimicked the one in Kenny Roberts' factory Grand Prix racebike, creating one of the first fully faired replica racer street bikes. The RZ500, however, wasn't legally available in the US thanks to the ever-tightening noose of emissions regulations that kept two-stroke oil burners like the RZ away from American consumption. I had fallen in love with motorcycles by riding off-road, graduating to a Honda County Route 125R when the earth was cooling back in 1985. Meanwhile, a few friends were getting into street bikes, and I began to envy how they could simply ride their motorcycles out of their garages, instead of first strapping them down in the back of a truck or a trailer. My buddies Ken and Dale offered up the gateway drugs. First was a Honda CB400F, followed shortly thereafter by two smokers like Yamaha's Road 400 and Kawasaki's KH400. The exciting power delivery nature of the Road and KH was familiar to me, as I had only ever owned two-stroke dirt bikes. However, my parents warned me that purchasing a street bike would result in a new residence outside their cozy basement I was living in. So I continued to sat my moto aspirations solely in the dirt. Meantime, I took a spin on a friend's Honda Interceptor 500, a wonderful four-stroke sport bike with a sweet V4 engine. It was the most lovely machine I had ever piloted, and I lusted for it. But then I was able to get behind the handlebars of Ken's latest bike, an RZ500, and my Grand Prix fantasies kicked into high gear. Starting it was part of its theater as its kickstart. Only provisions were actually a luxury relative to a GP bike. When I heard it cackle to life after a swift kick, visions of Kenny Roberts danced through my head because I knew this machine was indeed something quite special. Spurting oily smoke from its pair of undertail stingers, the RZ looked like the racetrack refugee it pretended to be. Aside from its headlight and fenders, it was a street-going replica of the YZR500 factory racer ridden by King Kenny during the 1983 GP season. Powered by a liquid-cooled 50-degree V4 housed in a perimeter-style box section frame, the RZ500 was a mid-1980s sport rider's wet dream. With its twin-crank layout, the engine essentially functions as a pair of 180-degree parallel twins geared together. However it worked, the engine sounded glorious, with 4 cylinders spitting out a cacophony of racket that sounded like it was either going to blow up or rocket it into low Earth orbit. Its power band is, at its low end, surprisingly docile, with less breathing of fire than might be expected, despite its servo-controlled Yamaha power valve system intended to bolster mid-range power. But get it up on its pipe around 7,000 revolutions per minute, and the V4 lunges forward with an urgency that seems almost frighteningly supernatural. Although its 80 horsepower at the rear wheel seems almost quaint today, its power delivery is guaranteed to keep your attention. It is that intense and oddly mystical feeling I'm reminded of whenever I'm asked a motojournalist's most frequently posed question, "What's your dream bike?" For me, it would be that invigorating V4 engine stuffed inside a modern sport bike chassis. You see, for as wild and fun as the RZ500 is, its steel-framed chassis and odd wheel sizes weren't able to measure up to its motor. This became more apparent in 1985 when Suzuki introduced its lighter aluminum-framed RG500 Gamma, despite the two 4-cylinder two-stroke motors producing similar horsepower. Although I dreamed of my RZ-powered dream sport bike, the upward trending prices of RZ500 have kept my dreams in fantasyland and out of reality. My pretend world meshed with my real life a few weeks ago while at the Circuit of the Americas for a ride on BMW Uber Superbike, the carbon-framed and wheeled HP4 race, which was the most capable sport bike I'd ever ridden. This 1985 Yamaha RZ500 is finished in its classic white, red, and blue livery, and includes all standard componentry. The bike's split-spoke alloy wheels are powder-coated in dark blue, with new tires being fitted in 2019. The odometer on this bike reads 87,000 kilometers, which translates to around 54,000 miles. However, the selling dealer admits that the actual total mileage is unknown. In 1985, the Road 500 LC 499cc 2-stroke V4 engine produced 88 horsepower. While the exact power figures of this particular bike are unknown, the engine did receive a thorough rebuild in 2004 by Wilson Performance. The same shop then worked on the engine again in 2008 following an engine seizure. This time around, the cylinders were bored and new pistons were fitted. Additionally, a set of 28mm Mikuni carburetors were fitted. A Jim Lomas full exhaust system, equipped with GP-style expansion chambers, has been fitted to the bike, giving its distinctive engine roar just a touch more volume.